Uh, Next up, we're gonna get into Shannon Sharpe and Antonio Brown. So Shannon Sharpe was on the show Undisputed, him and Skip Bayless. Shannon Sharpe shared his
Yep.
thoughts on what he felt about Antonio Brown and his latest antics. So Antonio Brown has been doing some crazy stuff in typical AB fashion.
That's right.
He's out in Dubai, and so he posted a pic where it looked like he was butt ass naked in the pool, exposing himself to a woman at the pool. And then he also posted a pic, and this, we'll get into it, but he posted a pic of him hugging Gisele Bündchen. And the reason why that is kind of getting talked about a lot is because Gisele Bündchen is married to Tom Brady, who used to be a teammate of Antonio Brown's on the Bucks. And reportedly, their marriage is not doing so well because of Brady's decision to come out of retirement to continue playing football. Gisele is not happy about that. Allegedly, the marriage is now kind of on shaky ground. And there's some news that broke within the last 24 hours that Gisele has hired divorce attorneys.
Ooh.
That has been reported by credible news sources, so I feel comfortable saying that on this channel. But so it's not at the moment. It is looking though as though things are kind of iffy, and so Antonio Brown at this moment goes ahead and puts this pic posts this pic on his Instagram of him hugging Gisele Bündchen, and Shannon Sharpe went off on AB in relation to that. So we'll talk about what Shannon Sharpe had to say, and then we'll react to this particular story.
AB is a clown, and he's been a clown for the longest. He's done in the NFL. Nobody's going to waste their time. And last night took the cake for me. I'm done. Everybody should be done. After he posted Tom Brady's wife and said what he said, that man took your ass in. That man revived your career. Nobody was going to give you a chance. And you take a shot at this man's wife. You do that, AB? I thought you at home. Because every last one, because every time someone try to correct AB, all y'all do is like, hey, let that man live. Let that man do this. Let that man do that. And that man is harming himself. And instead of somebody saying, you know what, Shannon, you're right. I wish somebody would get with AB and tell AB to slow it down. I don't want you to tell me what I need to hear. Tell me what I need to know. Tell me what can help me become a better man, a better person, a better player. As opposed to like, yeah, get the egging the man on. The man naked, got his ass in somebody's face, taking his time off. And they said, yeah, AB, yeah, AB. You see this? Instead of saying, AB, I mean, me personally, you in Dubai. You lucky they throw his ass in jail.
Yeah, right.
That's what I would do with my homeboy. I ain't got no homeboy, bro. Hey, we gone. Because I'm not going to go to jail. I'm not going to jail. And people at home, I want y'all to stop this. When a black person is trying to correct another black person, stop talking this bull jive about somebody trying to bring them down. Y'all want people just let bull jive go.
Bull jive.
No.
Oh man, Shannon.
So yeah, man. Shannon Sharpe went in, man. He's been an AB detractor for a while, and rightfully so. Some would argue because AB's kind of become more and more unhinged as time has gone along. But Shannon Sharpe talked about black people making excuses for black people and all of this kind of stuff. So, what did you have to say? What were your initial thoughts on Shannon Sharpe's comments?
Didn't disagree with anything he said. I felt like he was on point. I feel like, but I also feel like Antonio Brown he's so far gone. He's somewhere else. You can't. There's no reining that in. That guy is on another planet. So, the only thing that will calm him down is like meds and a straitjacket. Everything else, yeah, bro. Everything else, any other form of intervention, I think he's so far gone from therapy. I think he's so far gone from a lot of stuff. You're not gonna rein this behavior in. This guy is just somewhere else. And this post that he made of Tom Brady's wife, to me, that was the one where I was like, oh, he crazy.
Yeah.
He crazy. Like all the other stuff he was doing before, I was like, Antonio Brown, he a little off. Oh, that was a little off, but hey, whatever. But um, this, if you look at this on the surface, this is so disrespectful, bro. Like this is like next level for no reason, like out of left field
Yeah, what prompted it?
disrespect. Yeah, this left field disrespect. And for him to do that for his only advocate, um who he'll do this to anybody.
Mhm.
So yeah, man, like I feel sorry for him. I get laughs out of this. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Whenever Antonio Brown makes a headline and nobody's injured or anything crazy, I'm gonna get a chuckle out of that.
Mhm.
And so but then there's the backside of this where I go, well, this guy's a crazy person. So how much laughing can I do when this guy's not well?
Yeah.
So I don't know. How do you feel about this? Do you agree with Shannon, or how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I agree with Shannon on most accounts. AB is unhinged.
Yeah.
He's unhinged. Yeah, it speaks to him being mentally compromised. And
Yeah.
people have suggested CTE. I don't know. Um, it's worth suggesting, I guess, because he used to take some hits. The Vontez Burfict thing, several others. Like when AB was in his prime, particularly with the Steelers, he was getting knocked around. Um, so I don't think it's beyond the pale to suggest that there might be some, you know, cerebral degenerative issue going on with him, because this type of behavior is just um it's unhinged, and it's unhinged with no cause.
Yeah.
Like no one's doing anything to him. He's just, he's offering himself up. I did want to say though, because you usually make parallels like this, so I thought it was worth mentioning. He's
Mhm.
trying to be a rapper, and he's got some single out. So AB, I think if there's anything we can agree on, given his actions in the past and his general behavior, Antonio Brown is probably not above doing anything to bring attention to any project that he's working on. So he could be doing all of this solely for the purposes of trying to get people to see what it is that he has going on, and maybe listen to some of his singles or something like that, listen to some of his music or whatever. I'm just throwing that carrot out there. I don't know that to be a fact either, but I
Mhm.
do think that he's unhinged. He's become a menace. He's a menace.
He is a
And the
menace.
thing with him is, and this is my bigger societal observation, with the whole post that he put with Tom Brady's wife. Like, is that disrespectful? Absolutely. That is 100% crossing the line. Even though people like Antonio Brown don't see lines. People like Antonio Brown, there is no line to cross because lines don't exist.
Exactly.
But nevertheless, to reasonable people, you cross the line. But, and this takes me back to the point that I was making in the previous topic that we did, lines in our culture are becoming more and more blurry. And eventually they're no longer going to exist. We're trying to get to a point where you know, being sexually promiscuous with multiple partners and doing all of this other stuff is not only socially acceptable but gratifying, glorified, even, where not only are we saying we accept the fact that this is around, we're getting to a point where we're saying, hey, everyone should be doing this stuff. Like that's where we're sort of progressing towards. And so, when it comes to the sanctity of relationships and respect for that kind of thing, the lines are getting blurred in the same kind of way, where we're getting to a point where we're just starting to say, yeah, I'll post a pic with another dude's wife. Why? Because why not? And like, what better time to do it than during a time in which there is speculation that their relationship is on the rocks. And I feel emboldened to do this because, the culture that I exist in has emboldened me to be comfortable enough to put out such messaging because, hey, everybody for everybody out here. So
Mhm.
let me post a pic with Tom Brady's wife. Let me do that because why not? Why should I respect any of this. For what?
Mhm.
We're getting to a point where those lines are just so blurry, there's no need to respect it. And so I think there's a part of that that's going on with him. He doesn't see lines, therefore, there's nothing for him to cross because lines don't exist. And it's like, you know, again, my culture is telling me that I can do this because why not? We got, side piece this and cheating that and divorce that rates and all of this kind of stuff. And no one cares about any of it. So why should I care? And
Mhm.
and I do think that Tom Brady is someone who feels some type of way and cares about it because Tom Brady is an actual human man and not a walking avatar like the rest of these zombies out here. Tom Brady is a man of respect and principle. So he probably feels the same type of way about that I would feel in all likelihood. But does an individual like Antonio Brown care about that? No. And he doesn't care in part because he is mentally unhinged, but he also doesn't care, number two, because he's living in a society that says that type of behavior is acceptable because everybody's for everybody out here. And so we need to be cautious about stuff like that. That shit is dangerous. Um, Now, to a person like Tom Brady, he probably, Tom Brady gonna do his thing. Tom Brady ain't threatened by no Antonio Brown. And I'm not trying to suggest that this could affect whatever is going on between him and his wife or whatever the case may be. I'm strictly looking at it from the AB standpoint. And I'm saying I'm projecting myself into his position. And
Mhm.
I'm saying that a lot of his motivation to act this way is because of some of the societal norms that we have deemed permissible. And I don't think all of it is good. Quite frankly, I think a lot of it is bad. Um, not all rules and standards are bad. Like there's certain things that we can stand to evaluate as time progresses and say, this type of thing is antiquated. So maybe we shouldn't care about doing that so much. But there are certain things that we cling to socially, culturally, that make sense, that don't need to go away. And decorum and respect for other people's spouses and partners and relationships and significant others, I do think that that's something that should stick around. I don't think that stuff completely doesn't make sense, but we're trying to just deconstruct it all and create cultural anarchy. And Antonio Brown today is a result of said cultural anarchy.
Yeah, agreed. And I say that for AB, like I said, man, the guy is just I wouldn't want to hang out. You can't hang out with this guy. I don't know who.
No, no way.
If he did this, you can't hang out with him. There's nothing you can do with him because he'll turn on you. It's just that easy. At drop of a dime, whatever, you know, there's people who are crazy because they're on drugs, and then there's Antonio Brown. I don't think Antonio Brown does drugs. I mean, he may, but I don't think these are drug induced situations. I think the guy's just out of his mind.
Yeah. Yes.
I was telling somebody this the other day. What made Antonio Brown so good as a football player is he's crazy. Like there's times where, let's say that uh somebody's standing on, the edge of a building. It's a 100-story building, and it's you and Antonio Brown. And then so the challenge is to go as furthest to the ledge as you possibly can. And once you take a certain amount of steps, and you push yourself and you challenge yourself, and you go, this is as far as the wind's blowing, this is the farthest I can go. Antonio Brown keeps going,
Yeah.
and he'll stand all the way toes curled over the edge, because he's the type of person where he has that extra gear of, I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he's running across the middle, there's other receivers who tense up because, hey, the wind's blowing, I'm 100 feet in the air, I might fall over and die. Antonio Brown's like, where's the ball? I don't care who's in the middle. And he's just grabbing it, and he doesn't care what kind of hit he takes because he's willing to die for it. And there's people who are good at what they do. There's people who are good at what they do, and then there's people that's willing to die for what they do. And Antonio Brown, while he played football, He played football with a reckless abandon that other people were afraid to play with. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the strongest. He didn't run the best routes. He just was going to get open on you though, because he's crazy. He'll get off the route because he's so damn crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll run this. Are you going that way? Ah, and he going the other direction, and now he's wide open. Wow, what made him think of that? How was he able to do that? Because he's crazy, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You take that mentality off the football field and you release him to the public, he's going to start doing that type of behavior in a Dubai pool. You showing your that I didn't even think of that angle. Boy, you in Dubai. Them people don't play in other countries, man. I've heard some of the
Mm-hmm.
rules that they have of being in a like driving in a car and other things. You out
Mm-hmm.
here dropping your ass in a public pool and shoving it in people's face. Yeah, he is lucky he didn't get roped off for that. You know, some Brittany Grinder stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but is he going to think? No. This guy is past thinking. When you hear his interviews, he's not even putting together
It's completely
functional.
incoherent. Yeah, he
Yeah,
is completely incoherent. Yeah.
he's not putting sentences together. Yeah, it's incoherent. And I'm sitting here trying to. I saw one interview. This guy was really gassing him up. You know, I feel like you've been getting a raw deal. A raw deal where? Who's giving him a raw deal? Who's giving Antonio Brown a raw deal?
He's misunderstood.
Oh no, don't get
That's
me
what
that.
that I'm just saying. That's the angle they play up.
Yeah, they can't
He's
play that.
misunderstood.
Now, see, in the first topic, when we were talking about Kanye, he's really misunderstood. Now, Kanye's fringe too now. He low
Yeah.
key crazy his damn self, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I really think Kanye's a really misunderstood guy, and he plays into his misunderstandings.
He
Like you
does
said.
on purpose. Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
he plays into that. But Antonio Brown, this is a whole different gear. And this is what I'm saying, bro. I don't know what can help him, but a therapist, he's beyond that to me. I mean, a therapist, I mean, he can have the best. He can go, you know, day after day, week after week, and then, you know, a month to whatever later, he'll tell the therapist what he did last night, and the therapist gonna be like, "This, like, I thought we were making progress. You're not going to make progress with this man. It's over. I'm sorry. I don't give up on people, but this post here and the caption said, "Put that shit on." And that's the name. Like you said, I didn't even think of that, but he's advertising his song.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I personally think, and this is what I thought, and this is why I thought it was hilarious, because whenever he started getting into music, I said he's so crazy that he's gonna force people to hear a song of his one day. You're going to hear an Antonio Brown song on the radio as a mainstream hit one day. You know, mark my words on that. Why? Because he's out of his mind. That's why. And so that same logic of him curling his toes over the edge of that building, he's doing this to music now. And so, yeah, pushing the envelope as far as it can go. And just so he can be successful. But that's what this world rewards. That's what this social media world rewards, is people who are fringe, on the edge, and crazy. A lot of people have that persona. This is this man lifestyle.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I hope if he's just doing stuff, I hope he just does stuff to offend people. I hope he doesn't get into the violent, crazy, really crazy category. I hope he just keeps this above board and just be disrespectful and rude and whatever. But I hope this doesn't get into the violent area or anything else where it's just like, well, that's a crazy person. So you surprised he did that? So hopefully he doesn't go over there. But unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised if a headline came out where he did something violent or crazy. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but no, go ahead.
Or got himself hurt. That's what I think.
Yeah,
That's what I
or
think
get
is a
himself.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think is a possible outcome, that something can happen. The only thing that I think could help steer him straight
Mhm.
is if there's a tragedy. And I hate to say it because it's morbid to suggest that one needs tragedy in order to kind of scare them straight or scare them straight. But I kind of feel like that would be the only thing that would steer him straight, is some kind of a major tragedy that would force him to reevaluate how he's done things. Otherwise, though, he's just become a menace, and he's become unhinged. And I kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. I just, I think a lot of this is a result of the way our culture has decided that certain forms of depraved behavior are now permissible. I think Antonio Brown, at least in small part, is a result of that. And that is the bigger message to the rest of us who really need to become more principled and learn how to stop glorifying foolishness. And to that extent, I think Shannon Sharpe had a point. And I could get into what he was getting at in terms of the intra-racial way that we as black people do tend to permit certain types of behavior, because the idea is if anyone is chastising Antonio Brown, it's an indication that you're not down for the cause. I hate that shit with a passion. Yeah. Like I hate that shit with a passion. And we do that to each other. We don't, no other group of people does that. We only do that to one another, and we don't even do it to other groups of people. We just do it to ourselves. It's ridiculous. And that can be its own video in and of itself. But I do think that particular dynamic is a part of the overall pot of the way that we at times decide that certain things that do need to be called out in a certain way in which a person is going to be held accountable, depending on the circumstance, will decide that this is now permissible. And I think Antonio Brown is emboldened by that. And at least in small part it provides him with motivation to do stuff like this. Like that Gisele Bündchen thing is crossing the line. It doesn't get more crossing the line than that.
If this was a random dude that he did this to their wife when they were going through it, I wouldn't care. I would have been laughing my ass off. But for him to do it to Tom Brady, I don't care. I have nothing invested in him or his marriage. Right. But for him to do that for somebody that does so much for you, that's the part where I was like, oh yeah, you've crossed the line, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crossing a major line.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I don't really think it's okay to do it in even if it's not Tom Brady. Like
for sure.
Like you shouldn't feel so comfortable to post. You got how many millions of followers? You shouldn't feel so comfortable as to post a pic of you hugging the wife of a guy you used to be close to.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying. Whose relationship is at a rocky state. You shouldn't feel comfortable doing that, whether it's Tom Brady or your friend who's an accountant at a law firm. Like it shouldn't matter. Like that, there should be something in your brain that says perhaps that's going too far.
Yeah.
And for an unhinged person who is emboldened by a culture that says there's no such thing as line crossing, we can all be habitual line steppers now. There was that the Rick James thing with Charlie Murphy on Chappelle's show, where Charlie Murphy was talking about how Rick James was a habitual line stepper.
I gotta use that line.
Antonio Brown is a habitual line stepper
for sure.
And it's like, bro, we don't need that going on out here. And even if he does do it, it should be acceptable for people to say, bro, you shouldn't do that. Like you're crossing the line. And as opposed to people gassing it up, for their own entertainment. And I think you said this in a video that we did some time ago. The worst part about that particular angle is, God forbid, if something bad happens to Antonio Brown, like all of these people who relish in this type of stuff are going to be able to move on and find the next person to sort of relish in their abject misery, because, okay, we extracted everything that we could out of Antonio Brown, so let's move on to the next person to sort of extract from, like a vampire. And those people, they owe you nothing, they do nothing for you, so you really shouldn't be out here trying to placate to the whims of whatever it is that they want so that they can get their cathartic release, because they see you out here unhinged. And it's like, an individual like Antonio Brown is not necessarily going to receive that message, but somebody else who is susceptible to that kind of behavior, maybe they can get the picture that this just ain't the way to go about doing things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree, man. And that's the part about it that's sad, because he is a human being at the end of the day. And his antics, to me, is his suffering. And I don't know who he can possibly really have like really close to him at this point, when he's done all the stuff that he's done, just burning bridges, and just all kinds of reckless behavior. And like I said, I personally could not hang out with this guy. You know, I wouldn't want him to have my phone number. I wouldn't want to be around this guy, period.
Yeah.
Um, and he hasn't hit any wall yet. Apparently he still has some level of money. I don't want to see him when he doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people go, oh, he's acting like that because he's got. No, I mean, you hear about it because he's got money, and so he's doing stuff, like being in Dubai, and literally showing his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but if this guy didn't have money, I don't know what he would be really doing, and how wild he really. I think the money pacifies him. It's crazy. That's
Yeah.
what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
A therapist ain't helping him, but I think money is.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so I just wish him the best, bro. Overall in life, I really do, man. Because it's sad, but I still get. When he came out with the whole Himothy stuff, and he was out here making me. I was like, what? And I'm listening to the song, and it's just there's mumble rap, and then there's what Antonio Brown does. Okay, I don't know what the hell Antonio Brown is saying. All right, he did have one though. I did think it was funny and kind of catchy. All right, but overall, yeah, man, I just wish him the best. Yeah, I was upset with him, but just like how Shannon said, like I said, I don't give up on people. I have I extend, I extend. And now I gave up on him playing football a long time ago. But I still felt like there was some room for rehabilitation somewhere down the line. But these last few events, um, I just really think he's off the deep end. And he's those people that are in psych wards.
Yeah. Right.
He's that guy. He just played football for over a decade, and everybody knows his name. And if he sobered up, right, he wasn't on liquor or whatever type of drugs he does, and you sat down and talked to him, he's still crazy. And even if he's on his drugs, he might string together very logical stuff. All right, but people have to understand that insane doesn't mean stupid. So Antonio Brown could say some stuff where he's like, "Oh wow, that's pretty sharp. I didn't know you read that book, or I didn't know you thought that way, but that's pretty sharp." And it's like, yeah, this is part of a sociopath's persona, is to be smart enough to get away with whatever the hell that they're trying to get away with, or just be smart enough to fool people so they can get away with something, later. And so I've heard him say stuff. I said most of his stuff is incoherent, but in some of his incoherent dribble, all right, I've also heard him say stuff. I was like, well, that's a pretty smart angle. But if you talk to a guy under a bridge who's hooked on heroin, all right, and you start having him a conversation with him, he's going to say some sharp stuff too. All right, so you
Yeah.
can't.
From time to time. Yeah.
Yeah, from time to time, right? So you can't
Mhm.
be too surprised, or you can't be like, oh, well, there's something in there where you can, yeah, nah, this guy belongs in a psych ward. He's just not in one. And
Yeah.
so yeah, man, feel bad for him. Tom Brady, I'll give you this angle. All right. Tom Brady was an enabler for him. All right. People could say he was looking out for him. No, he was an enabler. Tom Brady wanted another Super Bowl. Tom Brady played against the Steelers all the time, and he saw Antonio Brown flying down the field every time he played him. And he said, I wish I had that on my team. And then when Antonio Brown got into his crap, Tom Brady said, now I can finally have Antonio Brown. I can finally have Antonio Brown. Hey, bring him over here. Bring him over here. Everybody, the Patriots was like, Antonio Brown. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And Tom Brady's like, bring him here. That's enabling. I don't care what the man does. Bring him here. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want more stats. I want this. I want that. All right. So he has an incident while he's with the Patriots. So now he's over at the Buccaneers. I still want Antonio Brown. Bring him over here. Bring him over here. Blah, 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 blah. He's enabling. And so and I had this analogy from exes or girls I used to talk to in the street, you know what I'm saying? And they seemed wounded, but I still felt like I could bring them in. And, but the analogy I use is like a dog that's been abused before. And it doesn't matter what you do to try to rehabilitate, show love, and whatever. If you reach in to pet it one time, it's gonna have flashbacks. And it's gonna bite your hand, and it's probably gonna attack you or something else. And you're trying to figure out like how or why would this dog do that? This dog is traumatized. It's over for this thing. It's hurt. It's too hurt. And Antonio Brown is a hurt human. And so there is no level of trying to bring him in. He's just going to hurt you. So I feel like Tom Brady was when the league tried to punish him and teams were trying to punish him, Tom Brady, for good reason too. Tom Brady said no, and he enabled his behavior. And so this is what happens when you enable somebody who you shouldn't have. They end up turning on you. And while Tom Brady is having probably one of the lowest moments of his entire life, Antonio Brown finds no pity in making fun of it to promote his album. And just so he can be on the tip of everybody's tongues like Kanye was. So, yeah, man, just a word to the wise, man. And if there is people out there that you do know, and it's like, man, this person's kind of injured, I think they need some therapy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they do need therapy, and you keep yourself at a distance, and let somebody else help them. Because if you try to bring them in and try to do whatever. Now, there's people that fell on rough times, and then there's hurt people. And those hurt people are going to find somebody to hurt. And if you're the closest in proximity, they're going to take that frustration out on you. And so nobody else in the league got as close to Antonio Brown and Tom Brady. And then look what happened. So one angle can be that he looked out for him. The other is that he enabled him. In either case, Antonio Brown's a hurt dude, and this is what hurt people do. So I wish him the best, man. Both Tom Brady and Antonio Brown, especially.
Yeah. I hear all of that. I just think until we decide as a culture, it's okay with maintaining certain barriers and standards and lines, people are just going to continue to test the limits of those lines. And I don't necessarily think it's the best thing in the world that we just have a whole society of people out here who are just habitual line steppers who don't care. I don't know how good I don't know how good a thing that is. But at any rate, good luck to AB. Great content, good video. Shouts out to Shannon Sharpe. I'm with Team Shay Shay on that. So
yeah, for sure.
With that note, man, another Conscious Approach video is in the books, man. We're gonna go ahead and close it out. As I like to always say, continue to support logical content. Follow the channel. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button so that you can get notification for all new content that gets published onto the channel. Hit the like button, comment on this video. We do pay attention and we do respond to comments. If you're watching this video on the Meta page, like the video, like the page, follow the page, share the video, Share this video wherever you see it. Comment on this video wherever you see it. It is always much appreciated as we continue to grow this community. You can find me on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS, and you can also follow the Constant Approach page on Instagram at Conapproach, CONAPPROACH. Check out the website because all the content is also on the website as well, constantapproach.com. So wherever you are, however you are, if you're watching this video on stream or if you're watching this video as its own standalone video clip, I certainly appreciate you for supporting logical content.
Yes, sir. And the name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS or on YouTube at Dogon SS. Also, I have a college football channel for anybody who's interested in the Miami Hurricanes or college football in general. That is the Hurricane Dogon channel. All right. And yeah, I launched a new series on Instagram. At least I'm going to have a channel featuring all the videos that I do make on Instagram, but the channel is the Dogon News Network. So once that channel gets up and running, we'll just be covering topics pretty much on a daily kind of basis, where anything that's going on, I'll just give my little 2 cents. It's satirical stuff, so if you guys like comedy, that's where you can find stuff over there on the Dogon News Network. And yeah, so but as JV Wynn said, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe over him. Much appreciated for all the new people and all the old people that's been here since day one. We really appreciate you guys, like 100. You know what I mean? All right. And like I always say in every pod, man, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it even kill, keep it calm, keep it chill, and keep it player. All right. Because if you are keeping it calm, chill, and player, all right, you would not be doing what Kanye did. All right. You would not be doing what those girls did on that panel. And you damn sure would not be doing what Antonio Brown has been doing. Okay. So make sure you guys keep it calm and chill, man. And until next time, guys, I'll holla. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With that note, man, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Appreciate you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.
Peace.